Okay. Oh, that's plenty loud.
Yes. Even I can hear it. That's good.
Even Dan can hear it. Mr. Olson says we're ready to go, so we're ready to go. I'd like to, I guess, first introduce myself. My name is Kevin Dennis. I'm the park manager here at the Tahquamenon Falls State Park. And on behalf of the entire staff here at the Falls, I'd like to welcome everyone as we gather today to commemorate and officially open this fantastic pedestrian bridge behind me here. We've got some special guests here today that I'd like to take a moment to recognize before I get into talking about the project a little bit. DNR Director Dan Eichinger is here today. Welcome, Dan. Deputy Director Shannon Lott is here with us. Welcome, Shannon. UP Field Deputy Stacy Hoy is here. Stacy, welcome. Our Chief, PRD Chief, Ron Olson, of course, is right here. And his assistant, our PRD Assistant Chief, Jackie Blodgett. Welcome, Jackie. Great to have everybody here, and yes, I did order the weather. I'd like to take just a few moments here before I hand the mic off to talk about this bridge and its significance to the park. The bridge is actually, the pedestrian bridge is actually part of a larger project aimed at improving visitor services to the lower falls. And this whole thing started back in 2013 with planning and design for phase one of this project. Phase one included the building of a new viewing wall in front of the old park store. That was completed in 2017. We built a canoe kayak launch in the Lower Falls day use area and did some riverbank stabilization at the same time there. And then there was repairs done to the existing boardwalk that you all would have walked across, the first section on your way out here to the bridge site. So that kind of wrapped up in 2017, and then we started to gear up with phase two of the vision of the repairs. And in the spring of 2021, we started those. We were delayed about a year due to COVID protocols, but we started in the spring of 2021 and are actually really close to substantial completion of phase two of the project. So excited about that. So some highlights of the second phase included restoring the old boat slide you may have seen as you started your walk. That old infrastructure was removed and renaturalized. Same thing for the public walkway down to the boats. That's been removed, renaturalized, and is growing back in a natural state. We are in the midst of constructing a new stairway down to the boat concession. You might have seen that on your walk down. That's still in progress. And that'll serve as the public, the staff, ingress and egress to the boats, and then also as the place where the contractor or the concessionaire will remove their boats and put them in every year. All in one spot now. So good stuff. Then coming this way, the boardwalk that we're all standing on here today, the 350 feet of boardwalk is all part of phase two of the project. And then as we cross over to the island, there's a brand new accessible 0.4 mile trail going around the island. And then there's also some boardwalk sections over there and some benches and stuff. So it's been a great project, but of course the centerpiece of the project is the bridge itself. So just give a little bit of rundown on the bridge. It was manufactured by Gator Bridge in Florida. Pretty sure there wasn't anybody in Michigan that could do it. So it was manufactured in Florida. It was trucked to Tahquamenon Falls in 4 sections on 2 semis. Made its way up here actually on Labor Day Friday last year, across the Mackinac Bridge, and was staged in the Lower Falls parking lot for the Labor Day weekend, and then until the next week when we had our bridge setting day, which was really, for a lot of us, was a really exciting day. September 8th, 2021, we were able to actually see to fruition the bridge being installed in place. Is Steve Olson here? Anybody from Olson & Olson? I don't see any of them, but the general contractor on the project was Olson & Olson Builders out of Manistee. They did a really nice job, and I'll talk a little bit more about them in a minute, but they were the ones that facilitated setting each section in place. They had temporary cribbing up in the river, which is hard to imagine, but they were able to divert the flows and set up scaffolding and able to get the bridge set and get it in place. So it's been really an awesome improvement. Serves a lot of benefits to the visiting public. Primarily, the island is now fully accessible, whereas before, yes, awesome. Before you had to rent a rowboat, row over to the island, or there was some folks that would cross the river, which that happens. Probably still happens a little bit, but by being fully accessible, everybody has had the opportunity to get over to the island, traverse their way around the 4/10 of a mile trail. So it's been awesome. It's been great. The little time it's been open so far. Some side benefits, safety-wise, emergency-wise, we're now able to, when we have emergencies on the island, which we do get from time to time, it's a lot easier dealing with those now for our staff and for EMS, whoever the case may be, to get across to the island without having to make the rowboat part of the journey. And then additionally, operationally, we used to have to make trail repairs on that island, load gravel into buckets, walk them down the stairs, load them onto a boat, row across to fix trail work and stuff like that. In the spring of the year, it was almost a yearly thing. So it'll be very nice for park staff to be able to accomplish that now a little bit easier and more efficiently. And then finally, the Tahquamenon River here is classified as a wild and scenic river. So we really feel like the project was added a lot to that. We're able to, hopefully protect the shorelines and have people using the bridge and kind of keep the river in its natural state. So pretty good stuff. But to make that all happen, it took a huge team effort. It was a lot of collaboration. There was a lot of logistical challenges that we had to work through to make it happen. A lot of give and take with the contractor, with the state, DTMB, and everybody worked really well together to get us to this point today. So that makes me proud. I do want to make special mention of a couple folks. We had a great big project team, but there was a couple people that I wanted to mention today. First and foremost, Keith Cayley here. Say hi, Keith. Keith is a regional field planner in planning section for PRD. He has the Eastern Upper Peninsula, and Keith has been involved right from day one, some 10 years ago, and really, had that vision of, a holistic approach to making these improvements to Lower Falls. Very professional, very thorough the whole way through, Keith, and thank you. Zane Herkus, where'd Zane go? Zane's right next to Keith. Zane is with OHM Advisors. OHM was the professional services consultant that the state hired to oversee the design of the project and then oversee construction as well. And Zane and his company did a nice job, so thank you, Zane. Steve and Todd Olson. Still no Olson and Olson, so oh yeah, here they come, right on cue. Get up here. Perfect timing, Steve. I won't say hi, Steve. Hello. And then his father, Todd, is right behind him there. They're they own Olson & Olson Contractors out of Manistee, Michigan, and they were the general contractor on this project. They were very good to work with. They had the best interest of a good finished product in mind the whole way through. I'm confident of that. Great to work with. Just did a very good job. So thank you, Steve and Todd Olson. last but not least, Craig Krebs. Mr. Krebs. Say hi, Craig. Craig is a retired park manager from Tahquamenon, retired about 5 years ago, and he was on the original short list of folks who had this idea of this bridge in his head some 10 years ago or so, and so it's nice to have you here today, Craig. Thank you for coming. So with that, I would like to invite Deputy Director Shannon Lott up to say a few words. Shannon?
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. This is a really neat opportunity, and I have 5 divisions that I oversee: forestry, fisheries, wildlife, parks, and law enforcement. Parks is by far our largest division, with staff and then seasonals that most of you see. So, we are actually going to, he doesn't know this, but we're going to honor Ron today. So that's why I skipped you in line. Ron was supposed to talk next, so he's probably going, why does she get to talk, right? So I'm going to say a few things about Ron because we want to honor Ron for a lot of things that he's done in the state park system. So he has done so many cool things, from tiny houses in state parks and bounce houses on the water and some of our parks, if you've seen those. And it's always a big joke with our management team at the executive level that every time Ron came to a meeting in the last few years, he had an award to show. So that speaks to his innovation and the innovation of the people that work in the parks on how many awards they get. He's recognized nationally throughout the country for all of his innovation efforts. He's also diligent about visiting staff and making sure he stops and listens. He rides the roads a lot, and yesterday he did that on the way up. He and Jackie did that, and I wouldn't think anything less. I figured he would do that on his way up. Stopped at several parks to see staff and listen to concerns. With the history of his work in local government, he worked in Ann Arbor for a long time. If those of you don't know Ron's history, but he's able to partner with tons of local governments, like Oakland County, where we had one of our first ORV parks ever. First time it's ever been done here in Michigan, which is really cool. He's also done other innovative things, like partnering with the military to fix the road to the Porkies. If folks heard about the road to the Porkies, pretty much fell into Lake Superior, and he was able to work with the National Guard and have it be a training exercise for them, but it was a huge need for us. So that's never been done before either, so that was a really innovative way to solve a huge problem. And he works hard to be a great leader. I mean, out of all of my chiefs that I oversee, Ron sends me the most leadership articles every month, and so I share those with my team when we get together, and that's great. So thanks, Ron, for your dedication to Michigan State Parks, and it's well deserved. So I'm going to turn it over to Director Eichinger.
Thank you, Shannon. Don't go far because I'm going to need your help here in just a minute. So it was about a year ago, towards the end of September, my wife and kids and I, we've gone around the UP. We stayed at a different state park every night. And we came out to Tahquamenon Falls, and we came all the way out on the boardwalk here because I knew that we had just set the bridge a few weeks prior to, and I wanted to come out and see it. And as I was standing pretty much exactly in this spot right here just about a year ago, I got to thinking, I don't know if anyone else finds themselves being a little bit philosophical or contemplative when you get into a state park, but I was definitely struck by that mood when I was standing here before, and I was thinking about what does a bridge represent? You know, it's how we get from here to there. It's it's the means by which we can progress and advance. And it's also really hard for me to think about, or not to think about, our state parks in the context of Ron Olson. Ron's been Parks Chief here for 17 years, and in that period of time, we've had a lot of changes in the state park system. We've gone from really a 20th century model for managing state parks to, I think really the vanguard for 21st century parks management across the country. And some of the things that Ron has stewarded, some of the changes that Ron has stewarded, we used to have in our state park system tons and tons and tons of general fund dollars, general tax dollars that would support the operations, maintenance, and improvements in our state parks. All of that, by and large, went away in the early 2000s. And so our park staff had to figure out new and innovative ways to resource our state parks, to keep them operational, keep them in good working conditions so that we could welcome visitors every single day of the year, just like we do in all of our state parks. And Ron was one of the early thought leaders behind the Recreation Passport program that innovated a model that started out in Montana, brought it here to the state of Michigan, and has now generated and created durable revenue for our state parks. In addition to that, Ron's overseen a tremendous investment in our lodging facilities as well. Shannon touched on some of those things. So we fund our state parks with Recreation Passport and with our lodging nights. So making investments in our campgrounds, making investments in things like mini cabins, continuing to drive innovation at our parks that keeps visitors wanting to come and stay, helps us keep a healthy and thriving state park system. And I think Ron, when you got here, how many state parks did we have? 95? 97. 97. How many do we have now? 103?
103, soon to be 104.
Soon to be 104. I told Ron when I got this job, I said, no more state parks, Ron. We've got enough. He's already talked me into a couple more. So anyway, I was thinking about all of those things when I was standing in this spot, and I was looking at this bridge, and I was looking at this river, and I thought, we've got to name this bridge after Ron Olson. Ron has been that person who has been the bridge from 20th century state park management to 21st century management. He has developed a staff and worked with a fabulous team. Ron doesn't do any of this stuff alone, but he's got a fabulous team that he's built and that he works with to make all of those kinds of things possible. And I thought, what better way for us to honor Ron and his vision than by naming this bridge after him. So Shannon, get up here, because we're gonna do something real quick, and then we're gonna turn it over to Ron.
Dedication, hard work, and accomplishment to Michigan DNR Parks and Recreation.
So the plaque reads, I'll just read it, Ronald A. Olson Island Bridge in honor of his dedication, hard work, and accomplishments with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Parks and Recreation Division. So congratulations, Ron, and now it's your turn to have the microphone.
Well, I knew nothing about that. Usually I know everything about everything, but they kept this, because you got to do that to be successful. But yeah, I'm really kind of lost for words, which is tough for me, but I really appreciate that. That's tremendous, and this is definitely a teamwork effort, and between Craig, we debated stuff back in his day, and then Kevin, and then there you are. This is my daughter Erica, and granddaughter Julia, and Emily.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've been hiding out over there. We almost closed.
Oh, okay. Wow, this is unbelievable. Anyway, one thing I did want to mention, some of you might not know, but this is the lectern that our staff from Straight State Park built for the announcement the governor made of the $250 million investment, of which the building up above is the beginning of that project. So this has a lot of iconic history to it. But just a couple of quick things other than profuse appreciation. But this all starts, and they mentioned it, with the teamwork and the team that we have. Even the folks from the past to the present are really fantastic, and it really is a team effort. None of us can do this by ourselves, and we debate and we kick things around and argue and things like that. But in the end, it's all about the outcome. And one of the things we talk about with why we do what we do, many people might know the TED Talk with Simon Sink that talks about why we do what we do. But we always talk about we're in the lifelong memory business. And everything we do, whether steward these natural resources or creating anything that we do, is all about people leaving and having a lifelong memory. And definitely this bridge will create lifelong memories for people. And one of the other pieces to get there is to provide access for all. And I think we try to balance things to try to keep the resource protected, but this is an example of trying to provide access for all. So everybody that can get across to that island, we've already heard stories, Kevin has told us, many people have said, I've never been to that island, and profusely appreciate it. And then we argued a lot, right, Keith, about the boats. And one of the things I said was we got to keep the boats, because we also have to respect tradition and that. And we always try to say, you know, the whole thing of protect and serve the mission, but also stimulate progress. So we do that all the time and try to provide that balance. So, you know, with that, I think this is an iconic amenity to this park, and you'll remember this forever. I mean, I will, definitely, because I'm in place, but you'll never forget the first time you crossed it. And that's what we want, so that becomes a positive experience. And I know Kevin and his team make sure on the other end the trail is in good shape when things are done, so you don't have to worry about that. And for the nearly just under 750,000 visitors here, and to Kevin and his team, we hardly get any comments or complaints or anything from this place. And there are days when folks stand in line or wait in line just to get in to go see the falls on both ends and hike, and let alone the campers. So anyway, I really appreciate this, and it's you know, it's hard to put in words, you know, when some recognition like this occurs. But I really say it's, you know, it's a lot about the team and the effort and the support that we get all the way around. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Ron. Jackie, we did it. So with that, I'd like to thank everybody for coming today, and let's gather around and cut this ribbon. We've got some special guests here, probably ready to go across. Okay. Yikes.
All right. All right, let's go 1, 2, 3, hooray, all right? 1, 2, 3, hooray! Yeah. And we'll cut out some pieces of ribbon.